these balls could be very heavy. They could weigh in pounds over 11 to 12 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So it was a very heavy ball, right? And how did they move the ball? They didn't kick it like soccer or throw it like basketball or football. They normally hit it with their hips. So they wore something like this to protect their hips. So they didn't kick it with the head, but they hit it with their hips. Or sometimes their shoulders. They use this area to hit that ball, right? And in here, there are no rings to score, like in other ball courts. In here, the game was a little bit more simple. One thing is that the team in here hit the ball, pass it to the other side, and the other game had to pass it back, and it had to bounce just once on the ground. Like tennis, you know? If it bounces twice or 3 times, then you lose. And that was it. So it was a very simple game. But of course, those who performed the game were professionals in their matter. Most of them were warriors, and they always had a captain, the one that represented the whole team. And that person was supposed to be the one sacrificed. And now, the thing is that, how were they sacrificed? Either losers or winners. Who do you think?
Winner.
Winners? Who says winners? Okay, who says losers? Okay, good. Anyone, you all are together correctly, because if both of them could be sacrificed, either the winners or the losers. Why? In the case of the winners, it was a reward, because it's supposed to go to the beyond. You know, their spirit was going to go to the beyond, to their gods, to the realm of the gods, and therefore it was a reward to yourself, to go and be with them, with your deities. For the losers was something like a shame, and you will go to work for them, not with them. That's the difference. Not with, but for them. And that's like a shame. And therefore you're going to also have slaves. Remember I told you about the slaves? If they found someone who had, you know, a good rank to be sacrificed, they would also sacrifice a slave. And the winner will be the one choosing, I want you and you. And they will be the one sacrificed on that mount. Let me show you something. I want to tell you, if anyone wants to try it, I can show you something here. This is a sample only of a small obsidian knife. Something like this, but 3 times bigger, imagine over here like that, was the one that they introduced in the person's chest to be sacrificed. When the person was still alive. Right? So you can have this on your chest. Take a look, it's an obsidian knife. It's still very sharp, as you can see. And the handle, it has a jaguar. You see jaguar? This is for a copy, not original. If this is original, it would cost worth of dollars. But it's similar to that. But in the time of the Mayan and Aztecs, which were the time which this was built, this was used only for their priests. Their priests would stand just like I'm doing in here, and another major person would come down from that main mound and talk to the people in here about the rules of how people have to behave in a place like this. Because the rules of behavior, how to behave when other people will come, were very important to avoid riots, you know, and misunderstandings and things like that. So a person would come down here and escorted by this priest they were for, he would approach to people like this, never step off, always on this part, and talk like I'm talking to you guys about the rules of the place, what they could do, what they could not do, what it was possible, what was not possible, and something interesting. The people could also talk to them, like, hey, can we do this, can we do that, can we go here, can we go there? It was a mutual, you know, understanding in between people and their priests. When everything that happened, then the priest would go back and then sit down there to watch the rest of the time. How long were people here? They normally came in here every new moon, you know, and how much does each new moon last? Does anybody know? How much does each new moon last? How many nights?
30?
No.
No, but how much does the night last? How many nights can you see the new moon?
1.
Maximum 2.
2, yeah.
Or 3 or 2. That was the time they were here. Remember I told you about the calendars, the moon, the sun, and Venus? In this case, it was the moon calendar that they used to know how much time will they be here. So it was according to the moon cycle, the time in which they were here. For 2 days, which were 2 nights, and every 28 days. So almost monthly. So every 28 days it would come, and they stayed here for 2 days, which was like a month. So that was the cycle of time. People stayed here for trading. Remember I told you they came also with trading, and this was a market. So that was the time. Once these 2 days were over, people had to leave, and they came back again 28 days later, following the moon cycle. And that was it. How they knew to come in a place like that for trading. And they would bring anything from slaves to animals, skins, jewelry, beans, whatever they could, to trade in here for 2 days, and it's nights, and then go back to where they came from, and so on. It was a cycle in order to do this kind of economic system, right? Symbols or statues or monuments built up by the Aztecs in here. The Aztecs, who were the last group in here, built up this. If you come here a little closer to this one in particular, what shape does it look like? This one here.
Feathered serpent.
Very well. Exactly.
Get bathtub too.
The feather serpent, or just a serpent, a snake. The snake's head, this one. And if you notice, if you see closer, here there's a canal, right? This and that, these two were parts of an ancient Aztec aqueduct. The Aztecs were the only group in Mesoamerica who had the idea of building aqueducts to bring water to their towns, to their cities. These were the remains of this aqueduct that they used in here to bring water to their communities. These two. This is what they exit. The water will go out there. And that looked like a bathtub, it was like a well in which the water would fall and people would get water for themselves, like a communitarian well. And if you notice, there's an opening. Excuse me. Over there, you see, there's an opening over there. And they use a particular fruit that we cut in half and make like a bowl out of it. And this was the one that they approached to get water, either to drink right there or to get to their homes. So that was a way to get water for everybody else in the community here. These are the only elements that we see in the ruins that are not located in their traditional size, because they were brought from other areas in which they were found, so we can see them in here, right? Because these two were part of the aqueduct, were around the city, and this was in another area where the aqueduct finished, so people would get the water to eat it and consume it for themselves.
And where did the water come from?
From the rivers.
From the river?
There's a river actually here behind us. There's a river after these houses, and other rivers nearby here.
So people with families would just sleep out under the stars for 2 days?
Exactly. For during that time. After that, everybody had to go, and the place was left only for their priests.
Right.
Yeah.
How far would people trek to come here?
That's a very good question. Some people would even trek in here up until probably 600 miles distance of that.
Wow.
Yeah, because it was a place in here, kind of like a meeting point, in which people from the south would come to meet the people from the north. And therefore people from different places would meet in here and then travel back again to their hometowns. Yeah. Any other questions so far?
This you said was F, I believe.
Yes?
How much are all the areas about this size? So it's very, very large.
It's much larger. After the road is the continuation of this.
Oh.
Yeah, because this is just the northern part. The other part is located on the other side of the roads. After this, maybe like probably 2 more miles away ahead.
Oh,
It's longer,
huge.
it's much longer. But some of these mountains haven't been unearthed because homes, people living there, give a little bit more problems like that.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Who built the slaves?
Who built the slaves?
Who built this?
Who built them? Actually, they had their servants.
Oh,
People
servants
who
did.
were used as servants who helped them with building up this thing. Yeah, all of this what you can see here. Someone else?
Alien.
Sorry? Australians?
Aliens.
Well, who knows?
You're gonna shake your finger at you.
Watch out, watch out. All right.